Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to Jack Dodsons Insider Racing News with the legend Scott Allen and his protege Joe Staples.
I'm moving up in the world.
We got Joe Staples with us tonight.
We're live on Periscope. Somebody's already said I'm fat. So we got Joe Staples here.
You do gain a few pounds on the
just joking.
On the TV.
So anyway,
he was just joking. He said he really meant Jack.
I want to know who it is. Okay, well, whoever it is. And being as we didn't have anybody tweet us back on our question today.
Have you ever had Dixon cider made in Dixon somewhere in California? No, I can't say I have.
No, can't.
What was it? Some cider?
Some kind of cider. It must be some alcohol drink or something.
But anyway, let's talk. The show's about racing. So we're going to talk some racing.
So this weekend, I mean, who can't be happy for Martin Truex Jr.?
Yes.
I mean,
I will tell you something. I was sitting there, but man,
waiting for a caution to come.
I just knew something was going to happen. That poor guy was just going. But I was so happy to see him win the race. I talked to Blake Harris. He's the car chief after the race. He was excited. He said they worked so hard to get to that point. And like you said earlier, I think now that he's won one, he's going to be strong. He's going to be strong the rest of the year.
I think they'll rattle off a couple of wins.
It would be nice to see.
Yeah, it would. And you know, I don't think anybody in the whole garage was upset over him winning. I mean, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson went to victory lane. They all left him little goodies on his car. I seen them post some pictures of it. So it was pretty cool to see the camaraderie.
And Kevin Harvick, who finished second again.
I know. I didn't realize that's the 10th second place he's ran this year, the most of anybody in the first 14 races.
And he gets out of the car. You know, you would think, you get a little ticked off about finishing second all the time. He gets out of the car. He said, if I'm going to finish second to somebody, I'm glad it's Martin Truex. Yeah. I'll finish second to him.
Yeah, that's what I say. I don't think anybody.
Did you see all them people? I mean, the guys everybody was coming up to Cole Pern and shaking his hand.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was it was one of those
very
wins,
emotional too.
It was one of those wins that was kind of like, well, nothing like the one Dale Earnhardt had, but it was kind of a situation where everybody was excited for that one guy to do. Cole Pern's first win, Martin Truex finally getting the win after leading so much of the races. But I'm gonna tell you something. That was a wild weekend up there at Pocono. Jeff. And Alan Gustafson.
Did you see that?
I heard a little bit of it.
Man, those guys. Yeah, keep tapping the screen.
They went back and
did they kiss and make up afterwards?
No.
Really?
No. What I understand, they got back. Everybody was supposed to be off yesterday at the 24. They were not off yesterday. They had to report to work yesterday.
Man.
12:45, they had a meeting. Let's all come to meet Jesus meeting. And they have another meeting tomorrow. They have another meeting tomorrow at 10 with Mr. Hendrick.
Ooh.
Just the 24 guys.
It's a shame. As well as those guys ran last year, I know they had to have their goals higher. That we're going to run well this year. I mean, I know Alan didn't want any of his crew members to move around. He wanted to keep the same guys. And, man, it has just not gone well. And nobody wants to go out like that.
But it was like I was telling somebody yesterday. You can't put all that on the race team. Even Jeff has said, look, I've gave away 2 or 3 races myself.
Yeah, I mean, they could have won at least 2 races there. One at Martinsville we were at, and then I forget where the other one was that
it was just
some other pit road penalty.
It was just he's there having bad luck. And according to my source there, it's not very nice around there right now.
I could imagine.
So, it's pretty tough. Some good news for Scott and I were talking about it earlier for CJ Faison. Got him a ride for Michigan. He'll be with us next week. And don't think we're not going to hit you up for them sunglasses again.
Oh, yeah. CJ, we want to get on that real. I told him we needed to get on that real eyewear program. And he says, well, I think I know somebody. They have their own sunglasses called Real Eyewear. Okay. So, yeah. So if you see us. But I told him Jack needed some big ones. We cover his, like.
Yeah, y'all.
Yeah.
You remember those big ones you used to get at the party stores? It was great.
Oh, yeah.
I had to get a pair for Jack.
Go to Spencer's or something like that. Look for a pair.
Are we gonna talk racing? So, also, another one of the people that we're very, very much tied to, Kaz Gralla, wins the race at South Boston in the Pass Series this week. He was awesome. I watched. Did he
lead the whole thing, or was it?
I think he
all but a few laps.
Yeah,
from what I understand.
I think it was like 3 or 4 laps he didn't lead.
I understand he just dominated it.
He was awesome.
The kid's is he 16 yet?
Yeah, he's 16 now. He's got his driver's license. He finally got his driver's license.
Yeah. Last time we had him on the show, he was at his driving class.
He had to walk out of his driving class to come talk to us.
That's bad. Like he could put a clinical on it, and
So that was. And boy, let me tell you something. Some good racing at Langley this past weekend.
Oh yes.
But that modified wreck was something else, man.
Man, what about Jimmy Harrell? What's the his name? The 95.
Oh,
I can never think of
it's
Danny
Harrell.
Harrell.
Yeah,
Danny Harrell.
I understand his new car that they took that he had to put 2 weeks ago. They had to put a front and rear snout on. It's going to be ready, so they'll have it for next week, I guess.
Well,
is the modifieds there next week with the K&N
not,
cars?
No,
they're 2 weeks off. I thought.
2 weeks off.
Okay, but it'll be ready. The new car, he sent it back, got a new front and rear clip put on it, man.
It was brand new. Brought it to the track.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, but it was a good race, and man, I ain't seen pile up like that except in arena racing.
Started out with 19 cars and only 8 finished the race.
It was unbelievable. I mean, how them got, and then the last lap. Did you see the last lap of the race? Where the guy took the 4-car out on the last lap.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
The guy took the 4-car out on the last lap, and I was sitting up there in the booth, and, of course, the officials are right over there, and I heard them holler, no.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I don't know what they told y'all on the radio, but they told he goes back to the rear of the field.
Yeah.
So,
but it was some good racing.
That was a good race. Trevor Bain won the ARCA race at Pocono. Matt Crafton won the truck race in Texas.
That was a good race.
That was a real good race.
Yeah, the truck race.
I haven't watched that yet. It's on my DVR, so I'm gonna.
Okay, we won't tell you any more about it then.
Yeah.
We'll go away from that one then. And one more thing from today, the MWR crew chief changed today.
I didn't see that coming.
I don't think anybody saw it coming. And from what I talked to my buddy that works at MWR today, they did not know it was coming. And it did not go over very well, from what I understand, from the crew chief perspective.
So for people that don't know, the engineers and crew chief are going to be swapped at Michael Waltrip Racing. So the 15 guys, Brian Patty and his engineering staff are going to move over to the 55. And what's the kid over at the
Billy Scott and his engineers are moving to the 15.
It's going to be Clint's crew chief and engineers. The rest of the crew members are going to stay.
Yeah. And Clint and Brian Patty,
they're like brothers.
They're like best friends. I mean,
Well, I don't know. I wasn't about to say best friends. They're kind of like they're brothers. They hate each other. They pick on each other. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's kind of like a couple other guys on the show.
You were there with me when we were in the garage with them at Richmond, and those guys, they have a camaraderie between them. All of them.
All of them. Yeah. And if there was a crew I wanted to get on, that would be the crew, because Clint doesn't take anything serious, and it's always they're all guys are always joking or playing pranks on each other, which is right up my alley.
And I mean we even went to a test, and they went and had stickers put on the car for my son, and he was on with Hendrick, and he used to be with MWR, and they went and put stickers on the back of the car and made me come over and take pictures beside the car. And then they sent it to him.
When we walked through the garage, the Clint's crew guys would come over. Hey, you got to wear our hat. And they put Clint's hat on Jack, and Jack's got to wear it over there at the 24 pit.
I've gotten more Clint Boyer hats.
At least 2 a weekend when we go.
And I go over there, and they go, you got to wear this back over there. Take that hat off and wear this one. And I go back over there. And finally, my son went over and told him, look, don't give my dad any more damn hats. But anyway, that crew chief change was big. I don't think it's a crew chief problem. I don't think it's a crew
think they're
problem.
just off. I mean,
I think it's an equipment issue. Like you said it earlier. I think it's an equipment issue, and I just don't.
I think money is tight over there. But you know, I seen. I don't know if you've seen the article. They're talking about Danica Patrick. She's the pill that's got to drop, or the next thing that whatever finds out what's ever going to happen with her is going to dictate what else happens with the drivers moving around.
You look at it like this: Clint Boyer's in his walk year.
Yes.
Clint Boyer's in his walk year. Denny Hamlin's in his walk year.
Now they say Denny said last weekend he was good through 16. Through 16 is what come out of his mouth. I always thought he was done at the end of the year too. And it sounds like he
wants to stay.
It sounds like he's fighting for his job.
Right.
Yeah.
But something is going on there.
Yeah, there's some underlying things going on there, and Eric Jones is going to have a car. Some way or another, Eric Jones is going to be in a car next year. Mark my word, he's going to be in a car, and it's going to be a Gibbs car. And I don't know how they're going to work it, but you got Boyer and you got Hamlin in their walk years. Danica's in her walk year and has no sponsor for next year.
Well,
and we already kind of gotten, you and I already kind of gotten the word of what may take place when the season's over with, and I think that's beginning to become a.
You think some of that mix up over Michael Waltrip might put the nail in the coffin?
I think that pretty much sealed the deal. I think you're going to see that change being made. I really do, and I'm not trying to brag, but I have an inside source over there that tells me that's a really good shot.
Yeah. What the article was talking about Danica, that she will, after this weekend crashing, that she will probably not make the chase. So therefore, her stock, so far as selling sponsorship, not making the chase, because it was looking like she had a shot at making the chase, that is about gone.
It is gone.
And she's struggling. For those guys are struggling about getting sponsorship. So, is Stuart Haas going to really work hard to try to find her sponsorship, or are they going to move on? That's what they're saying is the big thing here. Find out what's going to happen with her and her sponsorship, because she doesn't have sponsorship. She's been secure for years, and then that's going to dictate how the rest of it's going to move.
She doesn't have a sponsor for next year, and I'm like you. I don't know how much they're going to really pursue.
That's what I'd say. When you got
finance sponsorship,
I don't think they're going to pursue it too hard, because I think they've got something coming
that's going to bring sponsors.
That's going to have a sponsor, and I think that's laying in the weeds right now, and I don't think you're going to see them worried. They're not going to concern themselves.
And they were saying that a place where she could end up. One of them, they were talking about Michael Walter Racing, that maybe she would be a good partner with the 55 with Aaron's. But I mean, as we had kind of heard, Aaron's was going to be on another car next year, and rejoin
Aaron's is going to be a semi-sponsor for one car next year on a limited basis. I mean, it's not going to be a
they're going to fill in where somebody else, the primary sponsorship stops. So I don't know if that's even that's
a done deal. I mean, that's already.
It's just not announced yet.
Just they haven't announced it. I don't think they can announce it to the end of the year because of the
contract
negotiations, whatever they got with the other team. But Michael Waltrip's, I really think they're in a bad situation right now. I mean, if what we heard is true about sponsorship over there, there's not going to be no sponsorship left next year. I don't see it. I don't know if anybody else does, but I don't see it. Maybe they know something we don't know. But
I mean, I still think Danica's marketable. It ain't going to bring the GoDaddy money.
No.
It's definitely not going to bring the GoDaddy money.
It would be nice to see her still at the track.
I think she will be there. I don't know where she's going to end up. And I think Michael Waltrip is a place she could end up, because I think they're both going to be sort of desperate.
Right.
And I think she is a marketable person, because regardless whether she finishes 30th, she gets attention.
Right.
And that's really what most sponsors want anyway. They don't really care about wins, and we tried to talk about that the other week on the show, that how much PR is just as important as your driving ability.
And she brings the attention. So
I mean, she's the third or fourth highest paid NASCAR athlete. I mean,
And
that says something.
And there for a couple years, she was number one. I mean, you know, she was outdistancing Junior.
Yeah, when she first started.
And now that's kind of moved away from that, but that's pretty interesting.
I mean, she ain't got to worry about the mortgage this month.
No, she ain't got to worry about that. Because I think she's living with Ricky, so I don't think she has to worry about that no way.
Well, Ricky's living with her.
And poor Ricky, they get brought to Roush Fenway, they need to get their act together too.
God.
Speaking about,
he's had a tough year.
I just, you know.
Tough couple years, I should say.
Oh God.
We were talking about Pro 6 racing.
Okay.
We're not gonna we're not gonna do any fighting next week.
Gonna be a good race over at Langley Speedway this weekend for sure.
Yes.
The late models will be there. It looks like Greg has got his stuff back together, so they put a 2-year setup in it, and he dominated the other week in both races.
Yep. But isn't Pulliam and all them coming back this week too?
No, Lee is not. He's going to be, I forgot where he's going, but one of his teammates or team cars is going to be at Langley. I seen him post Twitter earlier. So yeah, and we're going to have Renno Marchetti.
Marchetti.
He's going to be calling in. What, is he going to be at 7:15?
He's supposed to be 7:15 calling in.
But I'll tell you what, those guys, him and his teammate, I don't know who his teammate is. Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Those two guys ran side by side there when they wrecked for the lead for like 20 laps. And that was probably the most exciting to watch the end of that race
That was a good race. Yes.
Man, that was exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, it was anybody's game for 20 laps. And they didn't touch each other except the one time, and then he wrecked his. Yeah. And especially his teammate, what he said in Victory Lane.
Yeah,
so,
it was. And I can't think of his name. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
So where's our buddy Clayton at tonight?
I don't know.
Hey, Clayton, you out there tonight?
Let's see.
Clayton Fry. Where are you at, Clayton Fry?
I didn't put the thing up. Gary put up there. Hey, his angels are coming in. Maddie calling in tonight. Take the camera out of the shot.
That's next week.
Yeah.
Well, I just sent Renno a message. They're going to be something he don't call. Nicole Behar was supposed to be here tonight, but she's on a plane to Sonoma as we speak. And so she will not be able, but she's going to be here. She's going to call next week.
Well, Clayton posted earlier, a few minutes ago. Say it's Clayton. Just got on, had a trouble tonight.
Had a little trouble tonight.
Something.
What's this thing over here doing?
The water filled up in it, so it cuts the AC off.
Okay.
You'll sweat a few pounds out. They'll be all right.
Yeah. Lose a couple pounds tonight on the show.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. When you come to a talk show and you end up losing weight. That's pretty. So we're gonna have a good show tonight. Hopefully, we'll get Renno in here in a few minutes. He's won 3 races at Langley this year in the Super Stock division. Won this past weekend. Did he win the second race too?
No, he didn't win the second race. I don't know if that was his teammate or not, but I know he didn't win the second race. It was a close fight battle there.
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm trying to figure out who this is.
He's very technically savvy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Clayton says I'm watching.
What is that? An iPhone 1?
I knew Joe would be a good addition to the show.
Joe,
that was a good one, Joe.
Hey, Joe, you got to remember now. We're doing things a little different now. We're supposed to be.
Oh, did y'all work a deal out while I was gone?
We're supposed to be messing with him. He's not supposed to be getting over me.
iPhone 1. That was a good one.
That was not good. But anyway, keep talking because we ain't heard from Renno yet.
Renno, where you at? So what else would happen?
I'll tell you something. I love watching them U cars the other night.
Oh yes. The U cars and the enduros.
Yeah,
I've been loving those, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 25 enduros last race.
Yeah.
Showed up. Now U cars was a little weak last week, but and I don't know why we had a low turnout, but it's some fun racing.
Yeah.
And, brings back the smile on your face to watch them guys go around.
That and the trucks. I mean, even though there wasn't a whole lot of trucks, that was a lot of fun to watch them race.
We had what did we have? 6 trucks, 7 trucks.
I think 7.
7 trucks.
Tommy Nixon come out. I mean, he'd been absent for a year or so.
Yeah.
He dominated there for 1 year.
Did he really?
Yeah. I don't think anybody else won a race but him.
So that's real. I mean, that's some good racing. I loved it. I loved being out there the other night with the modifieds. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood down there with Joe before you got there and watched the modifieds practice. Them guys flat get it down there.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about the Wing Champ race? I know it wasn't that good because I wasn't there.
It was actually a real good race because there was a whole bunch of cars at the end of that race that were fighting for a win, and I don't think you did that much, did you?
It's hard to do that. Somebody had to bring the field out, man. Hey, I'll tell you, like Danny Mallard. You know Danny?
Yes.
Danny is crazy. So he's telling Peter and them the other week, he said, man, I was racing with the leaders and stuff, and yada, yada, yada. He was racing down to Dixieland, and Peter said, Danny, how many damn laps down were you? He said, shut up, Peter. I was still racing with the leaders.
16 laps down.
You know your buddy that came in late the other night when we were getting ready for qualifying. He came in late. The one that was here one day when I can't think of his name now.
Robert? The racist?
No, the military guy that you had in here.
Robert. Yeah.
Okay.
With his big banana suit.
I see he took up your habits.
What'd he do?
He finished last.
No, actually he didn't. There's a couple cars fell off the field. He
finished last with the cars running.
Yes. Yeah, running.
I don't remember where he ended up.
I do. I watched for him.
Now Gary, the one that was next door, he was last.
I was thinking, you know what? This is the perfect time Scott ought to be racing because him and Scott could get in the back and race together and have their own little race and everybody else could win.
But it's funny. Vaughn won the second win, and he legitimately won this one. So they can't give him a hard time about it. He even asked me to take some pictures for him with him and his parents in Victory Lane. He's like, "Hey, you take some pictures?" I'm like, yeah.
I've been enjoying that race, and it's neat watching them go around the track. Drafting just like you would at Talladega or something. You know?
Was it Madison Morrell that's in the pink car?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She got left out a couple times the other night, which surprised me. I thought, but somehow or other, she seemed to when they left her out, she managed to find somebody to get back to her.
Yeah, you got to hook up with somebody. And Cullen, my teammate last year, he finished third. He did a good job.
That's right, he did.
But I tell you what, them Leach boys in those Mullis carts, these things are on point. I mean, them two, Aaron and Matthew, chased down a 3-car pack by themselves. I was like, whoa.
Well, there was quite a few in that pack there for a while, that fun pack.
Yeah. The end had 5 of them. Cullen was running third, and I kept thinking, Cullen, pull out. You can go by the first 2 because there'll be 3 of you, and y'all get by them. Just wait till, like, a lap and a half to go because once you break out front, the leeches are coming by you. Yeah, I know. And Aaron was like, worst that would have happened is you'd have finished third. You should have pulled out. We would have went with you. Well, think about it.
Do they race on Sunday as well, too? Or they just race on Saturday night?
They work. His dad does some chief.
Okay.
He's the tech director on Sundays. They did. Him and his parents do a lot.
Okay.
For the karting
I
club.
wanted to go out on Sunday and watch the racing on Sunday because it's been exciting.
What did he say, call, or are you just calling?
He said call. Renno Marchetti, how you doing, sir?
Good.
All right, this is Jack Dodson and Scott Allen and Joe Staples and on Jack Dodson's Insider Racing News. Glad to have you with us tonight. And give us a little background about the racing the other night. I see you got your 3rd win, and give us a little background on it.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, give us a little background on your racing and stuff and how you got started.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What did you say?
Give us a little background on how you got started in the racing and how your season's going.
Okay, well, I've been hanging out with my dad in the garage since I was a little kid. He always got me to work on the car with him, and finally one day he asked if we wanted to build a car for me, and just from there, kind of, then we ended up going to Langley. We built it home, so we stayed.
Now, you got the iconic 01 paint scheme for Zavakis. How did that come about?
My dad worked at Nascar Products for over 25 years in Richmond, Virginia. Emmanuel Zavakis owned Sonny Hudson's car for a long time, I believe. And that's how it came about. So my dad just kind of tried to carry on the legacy.
Do you still? Do y'all keep in touch with Butch and them up at Stock Car Products? I mean, I don't know what the status is up there anymore, but that was also Butch's color, his car too.
Yeah, I think they keep in touch. They talk every now and then. It's hard when you live so far away from each other, but I mean, after you've known somebody for that long, it's kind of hard to not talk to them anymore, I think.
So, Renno, how was the conversation with your teammate a few weeks ago when you guys, man, that was the most exciting race of the night, hands down, when you and your teammate were racing door-to-door for, what, like 20 laps? I mean, it was like the whole race. That was the most fun to watch, but I know it looks like you got loose there and you got into him and he wrecked and obviously he couldn't finish. That was just racing, but how was the conversation after the race with you guys?
Well, it was probably the most interesting conversation I think that we've ever had. It was, nobody was mad. Just, we're such good friends, it's kind of hard to be mad at each other, but, we decided it was just good, hard racing, and both of us wanted it bad. It was just a racing deal, and we're still best friends so far.
But I mean that had to have been really some kind of fun for you and your teammate to be racing for a win door to door like that. I mean, that had to have been like probably the ultimate goal when you start the season, that you want both of you guys to compete and dominate, and it sort of seems like that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping we could do. I know that's not exactly an easy thing to do, but we talked about it every morning. We thought, how cool it would be to be racing door to door for a win until we actually raced door to door for a win and saw the results of what could happen. So we understand a little more boundaries for it now. Probably saw that Saturday night, but.
So how much are y'all teammates? I mean, do y'all completely share everything information-wise? Or do y'all work out of your shop, his shop, or y'all have separate and just share information? Or?
Well, it's separate. He works on his car at his house, and we work on our car at my dad's shop. But, we talk about things, and it's sort of like in NASCAR. I'm sure Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch share a lot of stuff, but there's probably a lot of stuff they don't share, and that's just sort of the same way between us. We make sure each other can be inconsistent, but we don't want to make the other one beat us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right, Renno. Well, we got our next segment there on our Langley Speedway segment. We appreciate you calling in. If you want to thank your sponsors and stuff, and maybe at the end of the season, maybe when you're the champion there, we can have you back on to celebrate that with you.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Bye.
Sorry, we had to cut that kind of short, but we
called in later. We got started late, but we got a big guest coming on.
But we want to thank you for doing that, and that's part of our Langley Speedway segment that we do every week. We're going to have a Langley driver, and we want to thank the people over at Langley Speedway which Joe Staples is one of them, who's sitting over there and ain't saying nothing.
Well, Langley wants to thank you for that.
That's a good one. But we're waiting on Mike Cluka. Do you know Mike Cluka?
No, I don't.
He has been around forever, and he is quite the character. I mean, we talked to him at Richmond. He is on Front Row Motorsports, and he's been around forever. He worked on with Dale Sr., won some races with him at Childress's, and man, we just laughed at him. Most of Richmond, he was saying, he was talking about how terrible they were. He's fucking just terrible. So what's wrong with the car? I don't know. It's probably the shocks are probably messed up on it. And he goes on about the shocks for a little while, and then about 30 minutes later, well, you really think it's the shocks? He's like, yeah, I do the shocks. It's got to be the shocks. It's the shocks. And then he was chewing out. Well, he wasn't chewing anybody. He was cussing up a storm. Well, cussing up a storm, but they had a pit stop, and they lost a whole bunch of pit stalls. He said, what the hell? He was calling out, I'm going to just say it, Hollywood. Goddamn, who the hell names their stuff as Hollywood? Can't change no fucking tires. I can change tires faster than that.
This guy's been around, and he's got an interesting story. I mean,
where did he start at Junie Donlevy's?
No, he's from down there.
No, he's from up north. He's from up north. I forgot.
I mean, he started when he was down. He started with the teams down there. I mean, he was.
He was on the ARCA team, but then or something like that. And he ended up in Cup. I think Junie. I think it was. He was telling me Junie. I believe it was Junie Donlevy. Was his first job, and he said he was making $450 where he was at. And Junie's like, "How much do you need to make to pay your bills?" And he's like, "Or I don't. Maybe it wasn't Junie. It was somebody." And he told him, "Well, I need to make $550. That's all. I can't live on any less than that." Well, they ended up giving him like a little bit more than that, and he thought he was in. I mean, he was in high cotton then. All right, Clayton's got a question. He's got a question for you guys. Is NASCAR going to do anything about the track issues that seem to be happening on a weekly problem lately, mostly recently at the tunnel turn at Pocono? Well, I think so far as the track's concerned, that's part of the track's issues. They're supposed to make sure those things are taken care of prior to getting there. But things are going to happen, and that's just
I don't think
life per se.
I don't think at Pocono they pretty much. I mean, they saw the ripples, but they didn't think it was going to have that big a deal. After they put that new facelift they did on the drive through the tunnel, I don't think they expected it to be like it was. Also, from what I'm hearing, in qualifying trim, it was terrible. But when they got into race trim, it wasn't as bad. It was still there.
Yeah, because I think that's what got Danica in trouble, I believe. It was going over a tunnel turn. I think she got loose and wrecked and tore the car up. And then the week before, at Dover, one of the pit stalls, concrete was coming apart.
Oh, yeah, they had big old holes in there from that, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's something you couldn't see that coming.
Right.
Which I don't think that was a huge thing. It's probably maybe an ordeal for the crew members running around the car, maybe stepping on that part of it.
Trip hazard or something like that, yeah. But it could have been very well the weather that we've been having.
Well, Dover, they have a ton of snow. I mean, and I think they had said something about that too.
They said they had 2 bad winters up there back to back.
They had
but also putting that new tunnel in and redoing it made it even worse. I mean, that's the biggest explanation you can get for it is they doing that way. I mean,
next they would have to redo the whole.
Well, what I understand is that they've got to get it finished by the end of the month. They've got to go in there and fix it and have it.
I think it's 7 weeks. Oh, Indy cars.
Indy cars are coming in.
Oh, no, that ain't gonna work with Indy cars.
So the Indy cars, they got to get it done before the Indy cars get there. So I mean, that's one of the things they were talking about. All right, this is gonna be fun, y'all.
5.
Hello, Mr. Cluka. How are you tonight?
I am great. How are you, gentlemen?
We are just wonderful, and we are glad to have you on here.
It's good to be on.
We're still laughing over Richmond about the shot guys messing the setup up on the car.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, me and Jack are still laughing about the shot guy messing up the car at Richmond.
Oh, right. Right. Yeah, when the car runs bad, it's the shock. When the car runs good, it's the engine.
It's the engine.
Mike, give us a little background on how you got started and how you got to the point you are now. And I know you have a you have a big past. And give us a little.
My father, Ed Cluka, has been involved in racing pretty much his whole life. He was a greaser in the 50s. So with my dad being in racing his whole life, I grew up in racing. So I started working on race cars pretty much since I could walk. So when I was in high school, I went to work full-time with my father on a local late model team in Wisconsin. And we raced 5 nights a week. I did that for 3 seasons, won the Slinger Track Championship back-to-back with Al Still Sr., and then went on to ASA race in the late 80s, and then started delivering engines for Carl Wagner. And I would deliver engines from Wisconsin to Charlotte when they ran V6s at the time. Okay. And he owned Bobby Labonte's 10-33 Nationwide car. Mm-hmm. So I would change tires on that on the weekends. I think we did 10 races, and we won Michigan with my brother Scott changing rears, and I changed front tires. And then I got the opportunity to go work for Judy Donlevy in Virginia in '94. And then I've been cup racing ever since.
Now, the background that you have, you told me and Scott when we were up there that you have a claim to fame. Tell everybody, and we did a question thing on the show, trying to find out if anybody knew what your claim to fame is. But tell us what your claim to fame is.
Well, what do you think my claim to fame is?
I think
is it the skydiving incident?
Well, we want to know about that too.
Well, that's not.
One is it changing tires for Dale Earnhardt Sr.
That's the one I'm looking at. Changing tires.
That's the one you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many years were you over? How many years were you at Childress with them, with the Flying Aces and those guys?
I just changed tires for Dale in 2000, and then I was with him when he passed in 2000. They told him in 2001, and then changed for Harvick that season, and then I left and went back to MB2.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were.
For 2 years. Yeah, I was only there for 2 years the first time. I was at MB2 when I worked for Judy Donlevy. I was there for 3 seasons. And then when they started MB2 with Derek Cope in, I think it was 97, then I worked at MB2 from, I guess it was the 97, 98, 99 season.
What was it like?
Went to Dale
what was it like working with Dale Earnhardt? I mean, I mean, you're one of the few guys that can actually say, I did pit stops with Dale Earnhardt. I was on the crew with Dale Earnhardt.
Don't get much bigger than that.
I mean, and how is he as a person, and how did he treat his crew guys? And I've always heard a lot of good stories.
When you're one of Dale's guys on his team like that, I mean, he treats you like gold. I mean, it was the greatest experience of my life. You know, when you're in his inner circle that close, I mean, he treats you like, like any other driver would treat, their team. And then back in them days, we did everything. We, worked on the car Friday, Saturday, and then pitted on Sunday. Nowadays where they have, the flying pit crews, there was only 8 of us. So it was not that many guys, and we were all really a close-knit group. And I always say it was working, if you could picture working for John Wayne and Elvis Presley all at the same time.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And then when we lost Dale at Daytona, that had to be a hard thing for everybody on the team. And of course, from us as fans, it was really tough on us. But for you guys that were there, it had to be tough. And then to have to replace him with Kevin Harvick, I mean, that was kind of tough for y'all, wasn't it?
I mean, it's indescribable. I mean, he took us all deep sea fishing a month before he passed, going into the 2001 season, And when we walked on the back of his boat, the Intimidator, first thing he said to us, he said, "Boys, they might as well bring that trophy to the shop when we get back. We are winning a championship this year." So, I mean, that's how confident he was in us as a team. And, you know, I mean, you talk about going from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in 30 days.
Well, y'all had a hell of a season the year before. I mean, would y'all finish second to Bobby Labonte, right?
Yep. Yeah, we won 2 races and finished second. You know, there were some races there where, you know, we, like Bristol, the night race at Bristol, we were just dominating, and somebody spun Kenny Irwin, and he slid down the racetrack and just clipped us in the right rear. You know, and, I mean, it tore the end housing out of the car, and we put it back together. I think we lost maybe 60 laps. But he crawled up under there and looked at the truck arms, and we just had him basically welded in there. He's like, "Ah, it's good enough, let's go." He had lapped himself like 4 times. You know, I mean, just, he was on a mission that season, you know, and just, and going into the 2001 season, I mean, it's just, you know, it was ours. You know, it was ours to lose. It was, you know, when the man has that much confidence in everybody and what's going on, you know, there was no doubt in our minds we were going to do it. But it wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Now, that group of guys that was on that pit crew that year, I mean, Chocolate Myers and Will Lind and all that, David Smith, all that group, that had to be a fun group to be around.
You know, and all them guys were gone. You know, the only guy we had was Chocolate.
Oh, Will was gone?
And because Will Lind, he was in charge. He was the general manager of the Nationwide program. And David Smith, I don't know what David was doing. You know, he might have even left the team at the time.
Oh, well, I thought
we had Mike Moore. Yeah, we had Mike Moore as a jack band, and Ron Otto was changing rear tires, and Steve Lawrence carried rear tires, and I mean, it was just completely different pit crew.
No, I thought, for some reason, I always thought Will Lind was there, for some reason. But,
yeah, no, he's still a part of RCR, but at that time, like I say, he was, you know, heading up the Nationwide program.
So how did it go when Kevin come in? I mean, I can imagine when y'all won 3 races out, with Kevin, that had been a big emotional race. How did he fit in with the team? I think from his perspective, it always seemed like he never felt like it was his ride, which is kind of sad. I mean,
well, yeah, it was. I mean, you know, obviously it's some huge shoes to fill.
Sure.
Know? But, you know, Dale really liked Kevin. You know, they got along great. And he had a lot of respect for him as a driver. You know, so, you know, him being part of RCR, there was no question that he was going to be the replacement. You know, so somehow we all got back to the shop. We were all there at 7 o'clock Monday morning. And, you know, Bobby Hutchins had a meeting with all our shop guys and said, "We're peeling 3s off everything and turn everything white. We don't know what the number is going to be yet." You know, I mean, it was just, for those 3 hours that morning, it was horrifying. You know, because you're peeling the 3 off a car. You know, and you had to go to a room by yourself and cry and come back. It was just horrifying. You know, and then Richard called us all in the office at, I think it was about 10 a.m. And we all walked in there, and Kevin was sitting there. You know, and that was a pretty emotional meeting as well. You know, Richard told us a story about him being on the mountain, you know, that something happens that we will carry on.
Yeah.
You know, so we all sat and hugged together and said, "All right, well, you know, do it."
Yeah, I think he did a good job over there. It's a shame that they couldn't continue and win a championship, but I think he did a good job under the circumstances.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now,
I mean, after that 2001 season, everything kind of, like, going into the 2002 season, there was really nobody on the 3 car working on that car no more. They changed everything. You know, they moved out of the 3 car shop and put both teams, the 31 and the 3, into one building, and, I mean, everything just completely changed.
Wow. Now,
and in my opinion, not for the better.
Now, after you were with Richard Childress, where did you go after that? You were at the Wood Brothers at some point?
Yeah, I went to Wood Brothers. That was 06 through 010, and it was JTG Wood Brothers.
Yeah.
But right after Childress, I went back to ME2 and did a season with Johnny Benson.
Oh, okay.
That's when Johnny won Rockham.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of cool being part of that.
Yeah, I was there for that. It was.
And then you got to work for the iconic Wood Brothers. That had to be, and Lee, my son has always said, working over at the Wood Brothers was an experience because of Leonard Wood. He loved Leonard Wood. And of course, it was the JTG Doherty or JTG Wood Brothers Racing, but it was it was a good group of folks over there too.
Absolutely. I mean, the Wood Brothers are by far the best people in NASCAR. And like Lee says, working around Leonard Wood, who wasn't afraid to share any of his knowledge with you. If you asked him a question, he would tell you the answer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he was a great teacher, and I mean, just everything the man did, he was an artist. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a great experience.
All right, well, I got to know what's this falling out of an airplane story?
Well, before I started my NASCAR career, right after I was DSA racing, I just took a year off to do whatever. And some buddies of mine decided we were going to go skydiving, and it was in 1992. And we were doing a static line program, which means you're hooked to the airplane, and as soon as you let go of the airplane, your chute automatically deploys.
Okay.
Well, they only have 3,500 feet. So when I let go of the wing of the airplane, the chute came out, but the riser, it's called a piece of fabric called the riser that's supposed to come down and separate all the lines. Well, it got tangled. So I immediately pulled the cutaway strap and nothing happened, and it corkscrewed me all the way to the earth. And I remember I had a radio on, and the guy on the ground is yelling, "Mike, cut away, cut away!" And I'm like, "I did, you beep beep." Yeah. So I yelled for help a couple times. I'm like, "Well, there's no Superman, so nobody's gonna help you." So I just rolled it out, drifted across about 500 yards across the street over a golf course. So when I came to rest, I was on the fourth hole in the third cut in the rough. So you kind of lucky that I landed on a golf course in the third cut because the grass was kind of tall and it was a pretty soft landing. So when I hit the ground, I broke my neck.
Oh, did you really? Dang.
Lee told me that story a long time ago when y'all were at Woods. He told me that story. I thought when he told me that, I thought he was lying to me. And I said, I told my state, no way that man could have fell out of that airplane and still be standing here today. And he told me, Dad, he kept saying, Dad, he did.
You fall out of an airplane, bounce to the earth, have neck surgery with a broken neck, wear a halo for 3 months, and then I go on to start my NASCAR career the following season. Oh, yeah. So, pretty exciting.
Well, I tell you, Lee likes to tell me stories about all the things at the Wood Brothers, and he's always told me some stories of, the things that go on with y'all guys when you were there. He loved working around you because he said you always kept things interesting. Yeah, he said you always keep things really interested, and he liked being around and working around. And evidently, he still does, because I understand you and him still talk from time to time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Lee and I are still friends. And I see him every weekend, and every time we walk by each other, we give the fist bump or the high five or whatever, But yeah, Lee Dodson is definitely one of the good ones.
I thought he was the lunch man. Ain't that where you get your lunches?
He don't feed you very good some days, though, does he?
Well, sometimes.
All right, but
I sure would like to see Lee get the championship with Gordon before he retires. That would be pretty awesome.
That would be pretty awesome, but I'm gonna tell you something. They've got a lot of work to do. I mean, they're having a hard time right now.
Yeah, I mean, everybody else has kind of picked up their game. Like, that 78 car. I mean, they have so much speed every weekend. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think there was anybody.
The competition is definitely it's tough this year.
So how tough is it for you guys as a small team? Like, how many people do y'all have on the team there?
I think there's 40 of us, competing with you that have 600 employees.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where our weakness is engineering. We can't spend the big dollars on the simulation program that these bigger teams have that, they can run 50,000 laps of simulation every week before a race, where we can only do a couple hundred. So, our speed curve is way slower just because we don't have the resources. And at the end of the day, speed costs money, no matter what kind of motorsports you're involved in.
Well,
you can buy speed. It's just a matter of how much money you want to spend.
Right.
Well, Mike, one of the things with over there at front row, with you said you're down on the engineering. How much do you all get, or do you get anything from the Roush organization to help you guys?
Not really. We get some cars from them. Donnie Wingo came over from the Wood Brothers, and we were able to get 9 of their cars from last year. So some of our chassis are updated, but I mean, just as far as hanging the bodies on them, right, the way they hang them, I mean, there's just so many little things that we can't, we just can't obtain just because of dollars.
Are you guys like we had? Man, I'm drawing a blank. Who did we have last week? I can't think. We were saying like some of the bigger teams, those guys are using like aircraft nuts and bolts where, to lighten the chassis up. Where your smaller teams maybe is like you guys have to buy the less expensive bolts that weigh a lot more. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's everything.
I mean, he was saying it was like 250 pounds difference.
Right. Our cars are tanks compared to what they do.
And
they're able to do that because they, they'll run a car 4 races and then crush it, throw it away. Where we're still running cars that are 6 years old. You know what I mean? We just don't have that luxury to lighten the car and strengthen it where it needs to be. And, it's out of our reach.
Well, the good thing is
we're still there making laps, we're there making laps, trying to do best we can with what we got. And our owner doesn't have any delusions of grandeur. He understands how much money he puts in it and what he gets out of it, so he doesn't put a lot of pressure on us, as far as performance goes, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know what your limitations are. I mean, or your expectations got to be realistic.
But then you could go to a place like Talladega, like Front Row has done.
Yeah, and
it kind of equals out a little bit to the point where you guys can be a force there.
Absolutely. I mean, we won Talladega last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, it wasn't last year.
2 years ago now. Yeah, 2 years ago now. So yeah, anytime you go to a plate race, anybody's got a shot. And the stars aligned for us that day. We had our teammates pushing right at the right time, and obviously David made a great move at the end of the race on the 99. But absolutely, yeah, we kind of wish we could Speedway race every weekend.
Yeah, I bet. Now, do you guys using Roush Yates engines?
Yes, we do. Yep, we use Yates power, and there again, I think it's what you pay for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that, but it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's tiered programs. So.
Yeah.
Again, you get what you pay for. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just like you said, money buys speed. It's how much money you have to spend.
Yeah. So. But we're there. We're doing it, and just doing the best we can with what we got.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mike, we got a fan question that posted in here. Clayton, he wants to know, what do you think Dale Sr. would think about the cars that are running today? And how do you think Dale would do on driving these cars today?
I I don't think we'd have come this far if Dale Senior was still with us. You know, I don't know.
I'd agree with that.
Obviously, there's gonna be some changes in the cars, but who's to say how drastic they would be? And as far as how he would do when he starts, I mean, you put Dale Earnhardt in a go-kart or a speedboat, he's gonna go fast. You know what I mean? It don't matter.
He just had a very natural ability.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike, we appreciate your time tonight. I know you're a busy person, got things to do, but we really appreciate you spending some time with us. Hopefully, I can get you back on here again, and we can talk again real soon. And hope to see you at the track real soon too.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you again.
All right, man. Take care.
But he is quite the character.
Right.
I mean, he really was. We had a ball sitting there talking to him. And
I remember you telling me about the parachute.
Yeah.
You got two.
I didn't know he had a parachute. For some reason, I thought he fell out of a plane. I'm like, fell out of a plane? Why do you fall out of a plane, you know?
Yeah.
Well, see, when Lee told me that story many moons ago, I swear I didn't believe him. I thought, you done told me. They done set you up, because they would set Lee up at the Wood Brothers. When he first went to the Wood Brothers,
Right.
They would do crazy stuff to him, and he was one of them. Tell him, go get me a left-handed screwdriver. You know? And Lee would walk away, and he'd get just far enough away everybody was watching him, and he'd go, they got me again.
All right, well, Peter's done texted me over here. He said he's got copyrights on his name. Ain't nobody wants to use no Peter Steele. And he said, Peter says I look like a stuffed Oreo between you two guys. Peter, we're going to stir that pot so much. Come Pro 6 racing, everybody, you got to go to Langley Speedway.
We'll see if the track's at.
But yeah, let's see how you're smiling after the race.
We might have to black flag him.
I like Angela, so I wouldn't do that to her. But
Angela, that's true too.
Don't go bar Eric's.
We'll kick the crew chief out of the pit.
Yeah, definitely. Peter is definitely a different breed. If you listen to him talk, he wanted to spot a couple weeks ago. You couldn't hear a daggone thing he says if he ever tried to spot.
Now, I'm hoping that we'll get Angela Marie on here next week.
Is she coming next week?
I don't know if she's coming or she's calling or whatever. I think she ought to come, because that way we can have the other call. Yeah. Because
I understand it was pretty exciting the other week.
I sure hope I get there this weekend, because I want to see.
I won't be able to make it this weekend. I'll definitely be there next week for the K&N race. That's going to be good.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
And we got to get some K&N guys next week.
I'm working on that.
Okay.
I'm ahead of you.
Damn, that's a first.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. The only place you get ahead of me is on these computers.
Hey, wait a minute now. I ain't never started parked. I've always ran the whole race.
Man, there you go with that again. Why do you have to bring that up?
Have you heard this start and park story?
No.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
Well,
there was no start and park. Back at Southampton, when I was racing at Southampton.
This was
all right. Let me
stone wheels.
Yeah. Stagecoach racing.
You're not that much younger than me. I just want you to know that, right? But anyway, they had kids' night. It was a big deal. I had 2 young kids, and it was a big deal to me. Winning was not always my.
Well, it wasn't in the cards.
Well, some people have that same priority.
Well, no, he wants to win. He just ain't got the ability. But anyway, that night, the night he's talking about, was kids' night.
So just that night. I thought that was like.
No, it was just that night. That night was kids' night, and we were in the middle of the race. Got down. It was a 25-lap race. We were on lap 23, and I said, "That's it." I pulled off the track. Went down through the pit area.
He was going to be first in something.
And I went out the other side. They thought I was just going through the pit area, and went out the other side. And I stopped at the top of the hill. You've never been to Southampton. You had to go up a hill to get on the track. I stopped on top of the hill, and the official called me. He said, what's going on? I said, I'm going to be the first one out for kids' night. And everybody wants to know, you quit racing so you could be the first one out for kids' night? And I was. I was the first one out there for kids' night, and I got my kids in my car, and I took them for a ride. That was more important to me than being in the finishing the race.
All right.
Look, last year we had Joe Nemechek on, right? And we're talking, and Jack's like, Joe, I really admired you. You started in mini stocks just like I did and worked your way up. And I said, Joe ain't starting park no damn mini stock. And I think for a minute I offended Joe. He's like, hold on now, we only started park that cup car because we don't have the money. And he went on for a few minutes. And Jack's over there going, Joe, he ain't talking about you. He's talking about me. But at first, Joe was like, hold on, wait a minute.
He acts like he got a little upset. You done stepped on him real quick. And I'm looking at Scott like, I can't believe you did that.
I couldn't help it. He's like one of those things, just like, you just can't help yourself. You got to say it.
And that's when he was finishing in the back at the arena races and stuff, you know? And he's going to come talk to me about what I'm doing.
I thought he was finishing in the back to save his car, but he never did save his car.
No, not the last 2 years I ain't.
He didn't save his car that year because he decided he couldn't go one way. He went the other way.
Hey, I told you, that's how you get somebody that's faster than you. You can't catch them, so you got to do the best thing. You got to meet them in the middle.
Oh, you did meet him in the middle. In the middle of the door.
I definitely got a name for myself. Potter said it was going to take me a long time to live that one down.
But you know, it's really weird. That's how that season ended. And then this past season ended.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the way that this past season ended up there in the arena race. Man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm beginning to wonder if it ain't what happens there
every week.
At the end of the season, I don't know if I want to go back and last race.
I missed that, being in the tire cage.
Oh, yeah.
I heard all the stories. Different versions of the story.
Oh, I'm sure.
Too.
Oh, I'm sure
there's 3 of them.
God almighty.
There's one side, there's the other side, and there's the truth. But yeah, it was fun. Arena racing was fun. I will probably miss it next year. So
You're not going to come back?
we got some big announcements with the card out there
okay.
coming. So we'll have a big deal in a couple of months when we get it all done and we can announce it.
Well, we had a good show tonight, even though we really didn't have a whole lot of time for Renno tonight. But
yeah, sorry, we'll have Renno back on sometime.
But having Mike Cluka on here was that was worth everything I did to get him on here.
I thought we could just do a whole show with him. I mean, he is just so funny.
But
I started to say maybe that's what was wrong with him, when he falling out of the airplane.
Well, he'd probably like that either. But anyway, we wanna thank our sponsors. Bill Mullis and Langley Speedway for helping us out like they do. The Zims Foundation. You know more about that than I do, so you can.
Yeah, please go to the Zims Foundation. You can find them on Facebook, like their page, donate to the Zims Foundation. It's probably one of the only foundations that about 97% of all money given to the Zims Foundation goes towards the cause. Only because they can't do the website by themselves. They had to hire somebody and pay them to do that. So that's the only money that's ever spent out of it besides what goes to the cause. Everybody volunteers for it. So you go to some foundations and 50 or 40 or I think there was one big foundation that was sort of involved in NASCAR. They were trying to say that they were 85% and come find out realistically it's like 60%. So a lot of money seems to be wasted, but that is for sure one of the foundations that it's in the 95 plus range of actually goes towards the cause, and it's a great cause. They got a gala coming up, and I think maybe we'll try to see if we can get Ryan or Keith on, or maybe we get Keith to come over and we can talk about the gala that's coming up in November. It's a big deal, and you can get some stuff, and we have some stuff to give away. Fourth long, we're going to get some more stuff. I know John's son was asking me where his backpack was. He'll be here next week. They'll be there at Langley next week for John Medeiros for the K&N race. So we'll have to present him with his backpack, John.
Yeah, and we'll even sign it if you want.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, if you
let us know, we'll sign it.
Degrade it. I mean,
you may not may not want it though.
I tell most of the kids that come to the shows for miles, they're like, "Oh, autograph that for you. You can sell it on eBay and double your money, being you're getting it for free."
Anyway, also Pepsi
products. I think those guys.
There's the Courthouse Imports.
Got it right.
That dude, you know, he's
a nice guy.
Supposedly he's got a job. I've never been over here to see him work. Miles of Seamless Guttering.
Miles of Seamless Gutters. You need some gutters, please call Miles of Seamless Gutter.
And what else?
The guy's somebody's got to pick it up now. Our sign's we're gonna have a sign up here. One day we're gonna have it before the wall falls down.
It's ready, but
somebody hasn't.
I was kind of busy. I didn't get by there.
Busy.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna go into that on right now.
But thank all those guys for supporting us.
He was with me the other day when I was on the
phone. But thank those guys. We couldn't do it without them. And so that's about it. On to next week. Do we have any idea who we're going to have next week?
I know we're going to have Angela Marie Steele in our Langley Speedway segment.
Well, it'll probably be all Langley Speedway. We're going to have K&N, and K&N's
going to be at Langley Speedway. I'm going to try to do that, but I think I got one person that's not going to be K&N. Liz Snyder. Okay. Liz Snyder is a pit crew member in Cup.
Oh.
That I showed you the thing on her. She's going to be with us next week. I've also talked to Jefferson Hodges. He's with Rev Racing. He's part of the group that's going to be there next week at Langley. I've talked to him. He said he would be willing to come on at any time. So I may have him on as one of the people we're going to have. And then I'm going to try to get at least one or two of the K&N guys and then try to set up the next week with a bunch of them. So, just have a little fun with it.
Yeah.
But we appreciate the time, everything tonight. Appreciate Joe Staples being with us, even though he did make one bad mistake the whole time we were here.
What was that?
He made fun of my phone.
Oh, the iPhone 1.
Yeah. I mean, that was
since it was just an iPhone.
Since he wants to keep doing this, next week, read what I'm going to put on the invitation. Anyway, good luck. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.